This is absolutely the biggest credit card secret that feels illegal to know. I'm gonna ask you a serious question and I want you to answer it in the comments section. What do you think is safer to use, a credit card or a debit card? But before we get into this video, make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button so this video gets out to more people so everyone can stay informed. This has truly been one of the biggest arguments on social media, whether or not an actual debit card is protected and how much a credit card is truly protected and how the entire process works. Because a lot of people believe that, well, nah, man, my Visa debit card or my Master debit card, like, it's gonna protect me whenever I purchase something, right? And the crazy part is I don't know where any of my personal debit cards are, which are kind of scary if you think about it, but I do know where my business debit cards are because I use that in case I ever have to pull out cash from an ATM from my business. I'm gonna use my business debit card, if I could say that right. But even a business debit card does not have the same protections as a credit card does. I'm gonna give you a great example. I bought a new camera, the DJI Osmo 3, and it's a small pocket camera, but it's very expensive. I bought a whole carrying case, all the lenses, all the pieces that I needed to actually make this kit work, so when I'm on the road, I can actually shoot videos anywhere I'm at. And I lost it. Yes, you heard me right. I lost it. It was in a carrying case, and I left it at an actual check-in at a terminal at the airport. I set it on top of the actual desk, and I forgot to pick it up. And then I left, and then they said, oh, we're gonna file a report. We're gonna try to find it. They haven't found it. It's gone. Someone's got it. I didn't even have the camera for 2 full weeks and it's gone. Over $1,000 worth of camera equipment just gone. There's no recourse whatsoever. And let's say hypothetically, if I were to have purchased this actual same camera with a credit card, I would have actually got more protections. But remember, if you purchase anything with a debit card, whether it be a personal or a business, there are very little to no actual protections on any of your purchases. Let's say you order something online with your debit card and it never arrives. It arrives damaged. Guess what? It's going to be up to the actual issuer, your bank, to decide on whether or not they will file a chargeback. There is a gentleman, or I'm sorry, it could be a person, it could be a woman. I'm not 100% sure because of the screen name, but there was someone that commented on our last Navy Federal video, and they told me that Navy Federal refused to file a chargeback for 2 transactions they had issues with. That's a great example. But let's actually go to the website for Visa and take a look at how they protect you with your debit card. So you can see I'm not just making this up. So it says Visa's zero liability policy is our guarantee that you will not be held responsible for unauthorized charges made with your account or account information. You're protected if your Visa credit or debit card is lost, stolen, or fraudulently used online or offline. Now let's read the small print also. Visa's zero liability policy does not apply to certain commercial card and anonymous prepaid card transactions or transactions not processed by Visa. Cardholders must use care in protecting their card and notify their issuing financial institution immediately of any unauthorized use. Contact your issuer for more details. And that's where it ends. So let's say someone gets a hold of your debit card number and they make all kinds of transactions online, then it's up to you to immediately report it to your actual bank issuer, your bank that the debit card is actually issued by, and it's up to them to actually file a fraudulent claim. They'll usually give you a provisional credit and then they'll say, well, once the investigation is over, they may take the money back or they may let you keep it. So make sure that you don't spend it because it's only provisional while the investigation is ongoing. But pay attention to the verbiage we just read. It clearly states cardholders must use care in protecting their card and notify the issuing financial institution immediately. Now, pay attention here. Cardholders must use care in protecting their card. That's huge because if they can deem that you did not take any type of precautionary measures, guess what? You're liable. That's right. It happens all the time. We see videos all across social media where they're saying they found me liable. They said that I didn't protect my card information enough. Because remember, if they get access to your debit card, they are getting access to all of your money. They can drain your account and then it's up to you to convince the bank that, hey, it wasn't me. free. But again, notice how there are no protections on your actual transactions. Oh, before I forget, my actual merch store is 100% live. Here, you can see my little shop down there where you can get my actual mug, you can get some t-shirts and super soft hoodies that I personally designed all on my own. I'm super proud of them. They're going to be limited actual runs on all of these, so it'll be while supplies last. If you want to get one and help support the channel, link is right down there. So if there's any issue with any online purchase or something with the actual product that you purchase, it's going to be up to your issuing bank to make the decision on whether they will actually file a chargeback and whether or not they feel that it's an actual real legit claim. This is not legal advice or financial advice, and I am not an attorney. I want to give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that are working hard to fix their credit using Dispute Beast, the most advanced AI credit repair software ever created, and specifically to Wesley, Wesley's credit score went up over 226 points after just 2 rounds with Dispute Beast. And also Marcus's credit score went up 337 points after just 2 rounds with Dispute Beast. And let's not forget Richard's credit score went up 446 points after just 1 round with Dispute Beast. Dispute Beast is going to be pinned at the very top of the comments and in the video description for anybody that needs to fix their credit. Last part's the most important. But if you use a credit card has the highest level of protections out there, and specific credit cards go a little bit farther, but it kind of doesn't make any sense because it already should. Because there is something called the Fair Credit Billing Act. Now, everyone thinks that it's all about just the actual credit card itself is protecting you. No. Every single credit card transaction, no matter what credit card you have, is 100% protected by the Fair Credit Billing Act. But remember, this only covers credit cards, not installment loans, not auto loans, not student loans, nothing of that type. Only specifically credit card transactions. The Fair Credit Billing Act was designed to provide consumers with protection against unfair billing practices. Now, these are the different types of charges that you are protected with. Charges not authorized by the consumer, charges with wrong date or amount, which is kind of obvious, but I mean, it doesn't protect you with debit cards, charges for goods or services that weren't delivered, charges for goods or services that were received but were not as described, calculation errors, charges for which the consumer needs clarification, and billing statements delivered to an incorrect address, which I find that one very interesting. It's like, what, you could dispute the whole transaction because it was delivered to the incorrect address? That's kind of wild. So pay attention to this part right here. During an investigation, a consumer may withhold payment only on the disputed amount, not on the rest of their bill. So it's very important to understand, like, if you have a discrepancy on your credit card and it's a transaction, you're still going to be responsible if you have another rest of the balance, but you're not responsible for that one transaction or whatever the discrepancy may be. Stick with me here because I'm going to show you some of these credit cards and all of the actual extra benefits that you get for having these specific credit cards and how they would have actually protected my transaction if I would have used the right credit card instead of using my business debit, which I totally fumbled the bag there because I wasn't paying attention to what card I used when I was actually making the transaction for that camera. Now, here's the big secret. A lot of these credit card companies want you to file a dispute directly with them. You got to pick up the phone and you call them, but guess what? If you do that, you will not have the protections of the Fair Credit Billing Act. You must, and I repeat, you must send a dispute in writing to the actual credit card company because that's going to trigger the protections of the Fair Credit Billing Act. So if something goes wrong or they don't follow the process, you can't hold them accountable, you can't sue them. But if you actually send in a written dispute, you can sue the actual creditor for not following the process because guess what? A little secret, they always don't follow the process. So here are some of the rules for consumers, you, the actual card holder with the credit card. So consumers have 60 days from the time they receive their credit card or loan bill to dispute a charge with the card issuer or the lender. Charges must be over $50 to be eligible for a dispute. Complaints must be filed in writing, not an email, paper writing, snail mail. However, if a credit card was lost or stolen, consumer may dispute charges by phone rather than in writing. But I'm telling you right now, don't Don't dispute it by phone. You want to dispute it in writing so you have proof. Make copies, send it certified mail so you have proof that you actually sent it. Now here's the part that gets really good for you. Rules for card issuers and other lenders. The card issuer or other lender has 30 days to acknowledge receipt of the complaint. If they don't send you a letter in the mail or an email letting you know that they received your complaint or dispute, you can sue them and win. The lender has 90 days to complete an investigation, during which time it is not allowed to try to collect payment on the disputed amount, charge interest on it, or report it to the credit bureaus as late. It can, however, report as it being in dispute. If the lender finds that the dispute is valid, it must correct the error and refund any fees or interest that was charged as a result. If the lender decides the dispute is invalid, it must explain its findings and provide documentation to the consumer. So if you get an actual letter in the mail saying, oh, I'm sorry, we found that you're responsible, you immediately respond to them and let them know, I want proof immediately. That is huge. If they don't respond back with their findings and proof of how they came to their decision, then you can sue them. That's right, it's crazy. If they don't follow any of that protocol per the Fair Credit Billing Act, then you can sue them. And of course, I work with consumer law attorneys that love to go after cases like this because they do not expect you to understand and know your rights. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. This is pretty wild, right? The difference in the protections that you have with a debit card versus a credit card. But I also want you to go to Google and type in best credit card purchase protection from credit cards. Now, the following credit cards do have purchase protection: the Chase Freedom Flex, the American Express Gold Card, the Capital One Venture X, the Capital One Quicksilver, the Chase Freedom Unlimited, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Inc. Business Cash, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the American Express Platinum, and the Inc. Business Unlimited. These are the biggest ones that came up with the biggest actual purchase protections. But the American Express Gold Card has the largest purchase protection of all credit cards out there. It will cover you up to $10,000. And both the American Express Platinum and the American Express Gold Card, if you purchase something, it actually has purchase protection for the first 60 days, I believe. Sorry, I take that back. It's actually 90 days. But the business credit cards go a little bit further. All of those business credit cards that I just talked about will go all the way up to 120 days of protection. But the Capital One Venture X also goes all the way up to $10,000. So you're going to be protected with the American Express Gold Card and the Platinum, and also the actual Chase credit cards and the Venture X against any damage or any loss or theft. So with the American Express Gold Card, you're going to be covered in an actual covered event. So what's a covered event? Which results in damage to, losing, or theft of a covered purchase. So if I would have actually used my Gold Card, I would have been protected for all of the items that were inside of that actual carrying case, and I would have just filed a claim, and American Express would have actually just cut me a check or gave me some type of credit to actually purchase the item. It's really just that simple. But of course I didn't. I played it like an amateur, and now I'm gonna have to come out of pocket and buy a whole other camera and an entire other setup. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We covered another big one on debit cards versus credit cards and which one actually protects you. Now make sure that you watch this next video because it is about a credit union that you may want to learn about. And if you felt that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.